Today is Monday, the 17th of November at 5:49 a.m. Today, my EFT or the EFT topic of today is going to be on overthinking. And it's been coming to me for a while to start this YouTube channel. I had a YouTube channel before in the past. I grew it to like 15,000 subscribers. And then I gave it to my partner so that we could work on lifepurpose.com. Overthinking. I've been overthinking this, and I've been overthinking about all the mistakes that I made from the last YouTube channel, and I'm going to avoid that as much as possible. And I'll start with just saying that this is about just documenting now this journey. So today's session is going to be about EFT tapping on overthinking. I know it feels very foreign to me. I can feel it in my nervous system, and I'm going to tap on getting that out. And if you have been overthinking starting up a YouTube channel or fulfilling your dharma, your life purpose, then I would suggest that you join in as well and you do this with me, because this overthinking is related to either an IFS part, internal family systems part, or an ECHO, an energy consciousness hologram. And there's probably something inside of you just as the same. There is something inside of me that is preventing us from just doing the thing. And it's just very important to just do the thing and get that out of our nervous system. So that's what we're going to do. And when it comes to overthinking, what I researched with ChatGPT is that it's related to a form of fear. And that fear blocks you from being clear, having faith, and taking the right action. There could be something in your past that's like, remember when this happened? And then when you're thinking about that thing from the past, you don't want to repeat that same pattern. So what do? You overthink it. And I just think that it's time that you just take action. I take action, we take action. So, the Bible, what does it say here? Don't worry about tomorrow. Matthew 6:34. Worry equals mind loops, and it's not faith-based. Overthinking is related to a dysregulated mind trying to control the uncontrollable. But peace is aligned action and surrender. And that's why this is, I think, very critical that we let go of all of this overthinking. Okay. Let me just create a couple of EFT setup statements here. What the heck? Give me several EFT setup statements for overthinking. All right. Yeah, I'm not here to overthink. I'm not here to overthink about how to get this going. I'm just going to get this going. And it's really just more intuitive based. And I've already been doing EFT tapping for a few years. I think I started like in 2018, but it was like very inconsistent. It's only in the last 3 to 4 weeks where I've been incredibly consistent, and I've been doing this every day in the morning and at night. And I found this to be very impactful. All right, even though I'm overthinking, okay, all right, let's go with that. All right, the EFT setup statement is going to be, even though I'm overthinking, I choose clarity and simplicity now. Okay. If you're not familiar with EFT, there are different setup points, or there's different points that you tap through. And the idea is that there are these energy meridian points all over our body. You don't need to know what each point does, but it's just really, really simple. We have our karate chop. I use 2 hands. I prefer to use 2 hands. It's just me. I use two hands, but you can also just tap with one hand either side. It does not matter. And then we go from the top of the head to the third eye, to the inner eye, to the side eye, underneath the eye, upper lip, lower lip, collarbone, rib. And we got here the finger. So just think about, like, if you have your hand to yourself, you want to tap on the nail, okay, that's closest to you. Okay, not to the outside, but like this. And you want to just go down from the thumb to the index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. And then over here as well, we have the ankle, right? So imagine if you're sitting cross-legged, you want to tap the ankle, all right? This is a contraindicated point if you are pregnant. So if you're pregnant, do not tap on this point. Simply just tap on the top of the head. Use like your, fingers to get splayed out, like kind of like spider hands, okay? And then when I get to that part, you just keep tapping, all right? Real simple. Let me see. So before I do any EFT stuff, I always take some hapé. Hapé is an indigenous medicine that grows from the Amazon. And it is tobacco mixed with other things, like other plants from the Amazon. And I find it to be very grounding and clearing for me. If you have hapé, take it. If you don't, whatever, doesn't matter. It's all the same thing at the end of the day, all right? This is really just a way of getting me into a more coherent state. And I notice how it works instantly. So, yeah, you can fast forward this part if you want to. Doesn't matter. But this is what I do every single morning before I do EFT tapping. All right, this is what I do. All right, thank you, God. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, Mighty I Am Presence. Thank you, Great Divine Spirit Team. Thank you, Subconscious Mind, for this blessed, holy, and sacred hapé medicine. Calling on the hapé spirit, the spirit of the tobacco, the master plant, for guidance, reassurance, support, clarity, simplicity, ease. Thank you, hapé, for helping me let go of all the bullshit in my head. And thank you for helping me think very clearly and simply. And thank you for helping me address whatever is the root cause of this overthinking. Thank you. So it is, and so it was. Yeah, so I've got different blends of hapé. If you want hapé, I'll leave a link to where I get mine. You just take a little bit, right? You don't want to take too much. You don't want to like overdo it. So I take basically like a pea size, and I just focus on my intention. And I have like a butter knife. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can see that. Yeah. Simple butter knife. Yeah. I've been overthinking this a lot. And I know I took a few years off of YouTube. And I was working on the lifepurpose.com stuff. The limitation right now is financial resources. And that's also clearing up too, because I'm almost done with the trading system that I've been building. And I've also been, over the last years, working on trading the financial markets. Got an advanced certification, did advanced training on trading the financial markets, and also paying my tuition, so to speak, to all the mistakes that I've made. Having good success, but then also making careless mistakes because of my emotional set point, my psychology, my wiring. And I find that it's much better to work on this wiring and get myself in the right state of consciousness. I don't want to make it difficult. I want to make it easy on myself. I don't want to overthink things. I want to be very simple. Simple means just doing it. It's not overthinking it. It's just doing it. All right. And also too, just a note as well. You got to feel if this is right for you, if like EFT tapping is right for you. I've been doing it for a while and I really enjoy it, and I'll keep doing it. And another thing too is, hey, look, I'm a human being just like you, and that means I have my own things just like you. So this is really more about me documenting, and I'm not going to put that pressure on myself. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to be this big time YouTuber. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put myself in that trap again and create all these expectations for myself. I'm going to keep it real simple. All right, just a couple notes about this is, hey, look, like I said, I'm human, I curse. All right, if you have a problem with that, go to someone else. Go watch some other videos, because I curse. And I do that to express what I'm feeling inside. And this is what this is about. When we do EFT tapping, we are expressing what we feel inside. Okay, we're being honest with ourselves. We're not lying. Okay, lying is not going to get you anywhere. There's a saying, the truth shall set you free. And that's what I'm doing. All right, so I'll show you this. This is the dose that I take of Hape. I basically put it all together, blend it all together, and then I spread it in half so that it goes from one nose into another nose. And you can see that right there. Right. Those are the 2 lines of Hape. All right, if you got your Caripe, right, use that. Right, this is my Caripe. Nah, whatever. All right, thank you, God. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, Mighty I Am Presence. Thank you, Great Divine Spirit Team. Thank you, Subconscious Mind. Thank you, Hape, for this medicine. Thank you for healing my heart of all its wounds and expanding my vessel so that I can hold more of the light of God that always succeeds and always does the right thing. Thank you, Hape, for clearing my head of all doubts, of all insecurities, of all fears, worries, and anxieties, and all root memories from my subconscious mind. Thank you for connecting me to the universal intelligence and regulating my nervous system and anchoring into my nervous system as much light as my vessel can hold. Thank you, and so it is, and so it was. And thank you for helping me clear all forms of overthinking from my nervous system and from my subconscious mind. All right. Now I take 4 deep breaths, and on the 4th breath, I hold it in, and I recite the whole Ho'oponopono prayer. I love you. I apologize. Please forgive me. And then on thank you, I blow. Okay? That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And here we go. I love you. I apologize. Please forgive me. Thank you. Whew. Boy. Mm. 1, 2, 3. Okay. If you took hot pay, just let it settle in. Just let it settle in. Thank you, hot pay. You don't need a lot of hot pay. A little bit goes a long way. All right. Usually after I take hot pay, sometimes I need to use the toilet. If you need to use the toilet, or if you need to pause the video to get yourself centered, we do that. But I'm going to go use the toilet, and I'll be right back. All right. Okay, so now we begin. If you have headphones, put on some headphones. I listen to, I put on this brainwave music called Brain FM. And I'll leave a link in the description box. But what I listen to is I listen to meditate. And like over here, I listen to unguided, and I'll set a timer for 40 minutes. Okay, so that we are very efficient with this. And usually I'll get through everything in about 40 minutes. Sometimes I'll do more. Sometimes I'll do less. Actually, no, that's like usually the default is 40 minutes. That I'm not really tracking so much, but whatever. So just put on your headphones. This is what I do. I get into my zone. I have my eyes closed. Sometimes I have it open. For the purposes of this video, you might want to have, you would want to have your eyes open and follow along, right? So if I say certain names, just fill the names with your own situation, right? So for me, if I had issues with my biological mother, you may have issues with your biological father, or you may have issues with your, I don't know, that kid in elementary school that gave you a hard time and was, giving you shit, So just keep that in mind and make it easy on yourself. Really feel it. Feel into every bit of what you're feeling and just let those emotions go, okay? So we want an EFT top. We want to really figure out what is the issue from us overthinking, and we want to stop ourselves from overthinking. I call it like unfucking myself. I want to really unfuck myself from overthinking. I don't want to be hiding and suppressing my truth. And that's what we want to do. That's the goal in every one of these EFT sessions, is we want to, by the end of it, not feel anything, not have any issues, or not basically leave the session as a different person energetically than we started. All right. You can do like a rating of like how intense the thing is for overthinking. I don't look at that. I just look at what's the memory, what's the image in my head that's coming up, and I just tap on that, and that's it. All right. So we'll set a timer. If you're in the Brain FM app, this is, whatever. Just put on meditate and go to unguided, set a timer for 40 minutes, whatever. Do whatever you want. All right. I'm going to go 40 minutes and I'm going to turn on my headphones and we're going to get started. All right, here we go. All right, mighty I am present, subconscious mind. Reveal to me the source of this overthinking. Take a couple of deep breaths. All right, and let's begin. Starting with the setup statement. Even though I am overthinking, I choose clarity and simplicity now. Even though I'm overthinking, I choose clarity and simplicity now. Even though I'm overthinking, I choose clarity and simplicity now. Top of the head. Overthinking. Third eye. Overthinking. Eyebrow or inner eye. Overthinking. Side eye. Overthinking. Under eye. Overthinking. Top lip. Overthinking. Bottom lip. Overthinking. Collarbone. Overthinking. Move to the ribs. Overthinking. Fingers, starting with the thumb. Overthinking. Finger. Overthinking. Middle finger. Overthinking. Ring finger. Overthinking. Move to the pinky. Overthinking. Ankle. Okay. So remember, it's going to be this part right here of the ankle, and you just want to tap on this overthinking. Okay. These are all the points. And again, if you're pregnant, this is contraindicated. Just move to the top of the head. All right. This overthinking. I'm overthinking it. I'm overthinking it. I've been having this thought in my head. I've been having too many thoughts in my head. I've been overthinking it. I see the camera in front of me and it's recording me. And it feels like I'm being watched. It feels like I'm being watched. And I just want to hide. I just want to hide. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of being criticized. I'm afraid that what I have to offer is not enough. And there are these thoughts again. What if it's not enough? What if I'm not enough? It's never been enough. So I'm overthinking. I overthink to compensate. I overthink because I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect so I don't get judged. So I can be accepted. So that I have people like me. And people accept me as I am. Sometimes I switch. So I'll go from left hand to right hand. You do what feels right for you. And all this overthinking. All of this overthinking. Overthinking. Constantly overthinking. And I'm tired of all this overthinking. if it's really just between me and God, and there is no one outside of me, there is no outer world, and if everything in the outer world is just a vibrational reflection of what I am, who I am, then why am I overthinking this? Is it because I'm not enough? Am I not enough for God? Am I not enough to be here? All of this overthinking. And also you'll find that as you keep tapping, all of this leads to beliefs, right? Our beliefs about ourselves. And there are different levels to beliefs. There's different levels to these beliefs. And that the most basic, the most root is our spiritual beliefs. And it's our spiritual beliefs, our beliefs about God, universe, our purpose, that basically, because it's at the root, it's at the base, everything else that we do on the conscious level and the outer world level is dictated by that. At least that's how I understand it. And all these thoughts, all this overthinking, what if these are all my beliefs? It's in my nervous system. I'm overthinking it. I'm overthinking what to say. I'm overthinking how to behave. I'm overthinking where to put my hands. I'm overthinking how to create these videos. And it feels so foreign to me. It feels so foreign to me. It's so foreign to me. It's so foreign. I feel awkward. I feel uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable. And just notice for yourself that as you keep tapping, if you start feeling hot, if you start wanting to cry, if you start feeling anger, if you start feeling irritated, any emotions that come up, honor those emotions, honor those feelings. Any memories, tap on those memories. Keep working through those memories and focus on the visual. Imagine you have a projector in front of you and you see a movie of yourself. And as you see that movie of yourself, describe everything that's happening in that movie. Keep tapping on that and notice the sensations that come up and tap through those emotions and those sensations, because the more you tap, the softer those emotions will become over time. It can happen in one session. It can happen in a few minutes. It can take several sessions. It depends on how often you do this and how deep the emotional charge is. If it's really stuck in there, if it's really imprinted, if it's something that you learned from your parents, you modeled, it can take a couple of sessions. That's okay. It's all right. Don't judge yourself. Just accept it. Surrender and accept. And if at any time you need to go use the toilet because you're having a release, you barp, you fart, you need to go, poop, pee, whatever, just go. Just go. It's okay. It's okay. We're not here to look sexy. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to just be. And that has to be enough. That has to be enough. It has to be enough. But how can it be enough if I'm overthinking this? I'm constantly overthinking this. Constantly. Being mindful of where my hands are. Being mindful of every word I say. Am I stuttering? Am I not speaking loud enough? All of these thoughts in my head. And I'm fucking tired of all these thoughts in my head. I'm tired of overthinking all this. I see other people. I see other YouTube videos. I see other people crushing it. And I'm happy for them. And I'm very grateful for them. And I want the same for me too. And I believe that God maybe wants that for everyone. No, he doesn't. That's a thought that just came up in my head. So now I'm going to look at that. All right. So if you have something like that happens to you, go there. Look into that. No, he doesn't. No, God does not. God doesn't want everyone to be living an easy life. That's why a lot of people struggle. And at some points, you'll see me close my eyes. Is because I really have to concentrate, right? So this is more documenting for me. It's great if you resonate with this, but if you don't, okay, fine. Not for everyone. But let's figure out what the overthinking is about. Mighty I am present, subconscious mind, help me out. What is this overthinking about? What's the first memory? What's this first memory of overthinking? My biological mother. Now I see my biological mother's face in my third eye. And I remember whenever I did things that she probably thought it was stupid, and she would scream out my name, she'd say, Gabriel Ernesto. She would scream so loud, it would scare the shit out of me. And I'd run and I'd be like, what happened? And then she wanted an explanation for why I did something. She'd always say, why did you do this? Why did you do this? And sometimes I didn't have an answer, so I lied. And as a kid, being this little kid and against this big person, I was scared. So I created my lies. And all these lies in my nervous system, all of these lies in my nervous system, so many lies in my nervous system. Overthinking what to say, overthinking how to respond. And I've done this my whole life. I've overthought and I froze. Many times I froze, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say, and I froze. Even though I overthink things still, I choose to let that go from my nervous system now. Even though I still overthink things, I choose to let that go from my nervous system now. See right there, that was a burp. And that means that there was a release that's coming on. And I feel myself, I got to go to the toilet in a few seconds to pee, which means that that's very likely another release. And all this overthinking, it's too much. What if I say something stupid? What if I get these silly ass comments from people? Oh, you don't wear different clothes. You wear the same shit every day. Why are you wearing the same shit every day? 'Cause I fucking want to. It's 5 o'clock in the fucking morning. That's why I wear the same shit every day. 'Cause it's 5 o'clock in the fucking morning. And this is not my time to fucking look attractive in front of a camera. This is my time to get right with myself and to have my time with God. And that's why I'm doing this. It doesn't matter. But there's that part of me that wanted to be cool. There's that part of me that wanted to fit in. There's that part of me, that IFS part, that part that I created, wanting to fit in, wanting to do it like how everybody else was doing it, I wanted to do it like how everyone else was doing it. I wanted to fit in. I wanted that acceptance so bad that I would overthink things so much. Overthinking so much. Too much. Overthinking it too much. Overthinking it too much. Stuck in my nervous system. I still remember all these times when I would overthink it. I'm tired of overthinking things. Why can't it just be easier? Why do I have to make it more difficult? It doesn't have to be difficult. It can be way easier. And I choose for it to be way easier. God, please tell me, why am I making it so difficult on myself? Because you want to. Why? Because there's no challenge if it's easy. I remember these times when I'd play these video games when I was a kid, like Mortal Kombat and Super Mario. And when you play it at the easy level, it's easy. But then eventually you get bored. Eventually you want another challenge. And that's you not being okay with peace. That's me not being okay with my nervous system being at peace. I grew up around sabotage. I grew up in chaos. And there was no peace. Maybe for a day or two, it'd be quiet. But then these relatives would create all this drama. And I remember that. All this conflict, all this anger, all this discord could never just be peaceful. They could never just love one another. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for my kids. I want my children, I want my family to be at peace. I want them to have a good time with me. I want us to have a good time. I don't want to overthink this. I'm already 36 years old. I'm not getting any younger. One day I'm going to leave. One day I will leave this body. And I'll be on to the next thing. And I don't want to overthink this. I want to do the thing that God put me here to do. God, I really want to do the thing that you put me here to do. I want to fulfill my purpose. And I don't want to overthink it. I want to make it really easy on myself. I want to have a good time doing this. I don't want to attach to numbers. I don't want to attach to outcomes. But I've been overthinking. I've allowed the outer world to infect my mind with these stories of you need this outcome, you need these results to be successful, to be somebody. Who the fuck made that up? What kind of bullshit is that? And it gets me so frustrated because that prevents me from being in the present moment. And I want to be in the present moment. I want to be in the present moment. I don't want to overthink it. And I want to let that go from my nervous system. I want to let that go from my nervous system. I want to let that go from my nervous system. I know that I was, maybe according to some, awkward as a kid. Always called silent. Why are you so quiet? He's so quiet. He's so quiet. That's what a lot of older people would say. It's because I just don't want to talk to you. I do not want to talk. I'm just observing you. I'm in my head. I'm in my world. And that was the truth. I was always in my world. I was an only child. No one wanted to hang out with me. No one wanted to play with me. I had some friends, sure, but in terms of my own biological mother, working this job, single mother, she was too tired to hang out with me. Too tired to spend time with me. Or maybe she didn't want to. I don't know. That's me once again overthinking. I'm not in her head. I don't know. Maybe she didn't want me. All of these thoughts. Thinking about what kind of camera I should get, what kind of equipment. Making it harder. Creating more obstacles for myself. That's what I've been doing. I've been creating more obstacles for myself. I've been creating more resistance for myself. I've been creating more blocks versus just doing the thing. Versus just doing it. Just getting it done. And I choose to let that go from my nervous system now. I don't need a fancy fucking camera. I don't need more equipment than I already have. It's enough. I have enough. I'm making this video. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be. And there's that part of me that wants to be perfect because that part of me is scared. And I acknowledge that part of me that's scared. I acknowledge that part of me that wants to be flawless. Now I'm remembering Mortal Kombat. Every time that you defeated an enemy or an opponent in any stage of the game, if you didn't get hit, the screen would read flawless victory. Flawless victory. Flawless victory. And maybe I wanted to be flawless. And just as a side note, usually the subconscious mind will show you an image or a visual, and that will be the first or the strongest imprint that you have to that idea. So if for me, the topic today, for us today, the topic was overthinking, and I see Mortal Kombat, flawless victory, that's probably the closest association or the strongest imprint that I have to this. And as I say this now, I have that need to go use the toilet to release whatever's stuck. Flawless victory. Flawless victory. Wanting the flawless victory. Flawless victory. Flawless victory. I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect so bad. Why do I want to be perfect so bad? What is it about the flawless victory? Subconscious mind, mighty I am presence, help me out here. What is it about the flawless victory that matters to me? Gonna go use the toilet right now. I'll be right back. And we keep going with the top of the head. Keep tapping and keep tapping on whatever it is that you're feeling. And I feel all of this overthinking in my head. All of this overthinking in my head. All of this overthinking. Can't rest. Can't relax. It's just constantly overthinking. Overthinking about what I have to do today. Overthinking about my trading operating system. Overthinking about work. Overthinking about food. Overthinking about all this stuff that doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter right now. It's me overthinking. And because I'm overthinking, I already lose. I've already lost. Because now I make mistakes. Overthinking makes mistakes. Overthinking makes mistakes. And even though there's part of me that says, but you love to be in your head, you love to think, I can see how that is also connected to this part. There's part of me that thinks too much. There's part of me that cannot quiet down. And I feel this. I feel this overthinking in my shoulders, in my head, in my eyes, in my neck. All this overthinking. There's no rest. There's no peace. It's just me constantly overthinking. Constantly. Constantly overthinking. No rest. No peace. Constantly overthinking. No rest. No peace. Constantly overthinking. If it's just between me and God, God and me, then I'm overthinking. I'm overthinking God. I'm overthinking it. If you keep yawning or burping or whatever, farting, crying, tears coming out, honor those releases. And just allow yourself to relax and settle in. I'm overthinking this. I'm overthinking God. I'm overthinking God's will. I'm overthinking my purpose. I'm just overthinking it. Making it harder on myself than it has to be. All these beliefs. Making it so complicated. More complicated than it has to be. Even though I made it more complicated than it has to be, I choose to make it really simple on myself. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I choose to make it simple on myself. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I choose simplicity. I let go of all complications from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I let that go from my nervous system now. And this is how I can tell now we're getting somewhere, for me at least, because when I yawn a lot or burp or whatever, tears come out, that's how I know that I'm releasing this. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I choose to let that go from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I let that go from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. And as of right now, I started off this video feeling much more tense. Now I feel significantly more relaxed and at peace. And I could tell that it's just releasing now and letting it go. All the yawning is just clearing it, everything. And that's what we want to get to. That's what we want to get to. All this complication, leaving my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release this from my nervous system now. And we may have to do this for 10 rounds, go through the whole tapping sequence throughout the body 10, 15 times. It doesn't matter. As long as it needs until you no longer feel that intensity, that the intensity has to go down. And that's what we want to really commit ourselves to. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. Even though I made it more complicated than it had to be, I release that from my nervous system now. I let go of overthinking this. I don't see the point. God, I ask you for help. Please help us. Let go of all complications and overthinking from our nervous system now. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Forgive our debtors, as we forgive our debts. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive our trespassors. Forgive our trespassors, as we forgive our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. God, you are the creator of all of this. I choose to believe you created heaven and earth and everything I see. Everything that has ever existed, I choose to believe that you created all of that, which means that you have all that power. So why would I make it more complicated on myself? Why would I overthink certain things? And I ask you, God, for guidance. I ask you, God, to help me discern what is your will for me. What is your purpose for me? I ask you to make it crystal clear. I ask you to make it so clear for me, God, that it's undeniable, that it's so obvious of what I have to do, where I have to go, who I need to speak to, all the steps involved, and just do that. And that's what I choose. And I choose to surrender the part of me that has created all this complication, all this drama, all this chaos, all of this overthinking. And I surrender that part back to your light, God, for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. And so it is, and so it was. To the overthinking part of me, I love you. And I apologize for creating you. Please forgive me. God, forgive me. I forgive you. I forgive myself. And I thank you for your existence. With unconditional love and acceptance, I now send you back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. And so it is, and so it was. Thank you. I choose to make it easy on myself. I choose to just do the thing. Doesn't mean I rush through it. It just means, hey, make it easy on yourself. I can create an MVP. I can create a minimum viable product. And I don't have to have perfection on day one. I don't have to rush to be perfect. I don't have to rush to be at the end right now. I'm on a journey. I'm on my unique divine path. And I choose to accept that. I stop disrespecting myself. I stop disrespecting you, God. I allow myself to grow. I allow myself to evolve. I allow myself to take it one step at a time. One video at a time. One day at a time. One trade at a time. One post at a time. One step at a time. One step. I understand that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And I take that first step with humility, with surrender and acceptance. I surrender and I accept that I'm not perfect. And I also surrender and accept that I don't have to be perfect. Just show up. One step at a time, one day at a time, one thought at a time. Allowing myself to get organized, allowing myself to follow my working procedures, allowing myself to create a workflow, allowing myself to make it easier on myself, allowing myself to use advanced tools to make it easy on myself. I don't need to struggle. And I understand that struggling was in my nervous system. Struggling was something that I saw growing up. But I don't need to be that. And I let that go from my nervous system. I anchor in simplicity into my nervous system now. I anchor simplicity into my nervous system now. I anchor effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. Even though I made it more difficult than it had to be, I anchor effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. Even though I made it more difficult than it had to be, I anchor effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. Even though I made it harder than it had to be, I anchor effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. Even though I made it harder than it had to be, I anchor effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. Even though I overthought things, I anchor clear thinking into my nervous system now. Even though I overthought things, I anchor clear thinking and effortless simplicity into my nervous system now. And I surrender. I accept what is, knowing that the outcome is out of my hands, but knowing that I have to do my part. Knowing that I can't just not do the thing. I have to do the thing, but I can do it in a much more graceful and simple way. And that's what I choose. And that's what I allow. And thank you, God, for today. Anchoring in, clearing and releasing everything that doesn't serve me, getting out of my head, and just doing the thing with ease, grace, and effortless simplicity. And so it is, and so it was. Thank you. And now we're going to seal this up and end this with 3 deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale as deep as you can. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Grab the wrist. Grab your wrist, whichever one, and just anchor that in. Okay? And just take a pause. Notice how you feel. And if you still don't feel at peace with yourself, just keep tapping. Give yourself time. Know that God is with you. Your mighty I Am presence is with you. Universal intelligence is with you. Your inner divine is always with you. And if you need private support, you can reach out to me. And we can schedule a private session. And if you want to stay up to date, you can sign up to the newsletter. I'm going to make sure to post some valuable things for you so that you can grow and evolve your practice too. If you found this valuable, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon to stay updated for future videos. I will be posting daily. This is my ritual, and I invite you to join in on this ritual of self-love. Until tomorrow, until next time, namaste.